Good evening, guys. Just wanted to make a quick video about I don't know if you heard on the news, but KGO is changing their lineup again. Um, Apparently, the parent company Cumulus is going through some financial problems, and that's the reason why they decided to let their afternoon host, Chip Franklin, I believe it's his name. I really don't listen to the radio station that much, uh, since they changed the format like 10 years ago. I think it was back in 2011. But yeah, this radio station is just hasn't never been the same since Cumulus decided to change the format to compete with the other juggernaut here in the Bay Area, which is KCBS, the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week news talk station. And so Cumulus wanted to give that station a run for their money, so they decided to change the format. And I think that was the biggest mistake that they could have made. They basically destroyed the radio station because, in my opinion, KGO, and many's opinion, really, here in the Bay Area and up and down the West Coast, could have attested that if you listen to the station back in um, the late 90s, early 2000s, it was considered to be one of the best talk show or, you know, talk radio programs or stations in the entire country, bar none. And the Albatron ratings attested to that. They were constantly in the top five. You know, when they had the likes of Ron Owens and Pete Wilson, and they had Gene Burns, and they had um, you know Len Tillum doing his legal 1 hour legal advice type of show in the mid morning, which was very entertaining, by the way, the stories that you listened to. But yeah, I remember I grew up listening to that station when I moved up here to the Bay Area in the late 90s. And, they had a variety of different personalities. Every one of them, pretty much covered the entire spectrum of politics. Some of them were uh, hardcore liberals like Bernie Ward and Ray Taliaferro and Carell on the weekends. And then you had the conservative counterpunch with guys like Pete Wilson and Dr. Bill Wattenberg, and you had a libertarian also in there as well, and then you had the middleman like Ron Owens. He was basically the anchor there on the radio station, but it was riveting radio. It was one of the very few radio stations that really had a 24/7 format, local format that is, from start to finish. The lineup I just mentioned, pretty much up and down, from Ron Owens to Pete Wilson. Later on, I believe Gil Gross took over his spot, and then you had Gene Burns and Bernie Ward before, he got in trouble for his uh, child pornography scandal. And then after him, you had Ray Taliaferro. I mean, it just went all the way around the clock, and it was just great, riveting radio. And then on the weekends, you had guys like Carell, like I mentioned, in the evening, Saturday and Sundays, and followed by Dr. Bill Wattenberg, and they were polar opposites of each other. I remember, vividly when they used to have the handoffs. When one show ended, and then the the talk show host of which show was ending would hand off the basically the on air show to the upcoming host, and so you would have Carell and Dr. Bill Wattenberg handing off or interchanging a few seconds, and you can tell on the air they hated each other's guts. I mean, they couldn't stand each other. As I mentioned, Carell was a hardcore liberal, still is. Dr. Bill Wattenberg was completely the opposite, and they just didn't like each other. You can tell Dr. Bill would just totally brush him off, didn't even acknowledge that his presence. He would just, give a little brief synopsis of about what the show was going to be about. But it was just riveting radio. It was one of the best radio stations in the country. And then, of course, they had the KGO All Stars, where you had clashing personalities as well. You know, between the radio hosts on the weekdays and also on the weekends, and it was just entertaining radio. I just absolutely loved it. They basically covered a variety of different topics. It wasn't just politics. It was, as I mentioned, law, legal advice, medical advice, consumer credit advice. I think the guy, as a matter of fact, I believe he's still on the air. Michael Feeney, I believe he's still on the weekends. But yeah, they decided to change the format yet again this week. It wasn't a big, an entirely different. I shouldn't say they changed the format. They just changed the lineup. They just got rid of one of their afternoon hosts, and they replaced him with I think John Rothman is going to take over for him. But yeah, the biggest mistake. I don't know what Cumulus was doing. They just made a big mistake. That radio station generated big time ratings. You know, one of the top 5 constantly month in and month out Albatron rated stations here in the Bay Area, competing with KMBR and KCBS and KOIT, which is a contemporary music station that plays Christmas music right now, as a matter of fact. But they were always constantly in the top 5. And they decided back in 2011, I believe, to pull the plug, and the station hasn't been the same since. But yeah, I just wanted to upload this video and just give my 2 cents. And definitely brought some fond memories when KGO was the golden, during their golden time, their golden age, between, I'd say, between the late 90s up until 2011, when they pulled the plug on all of their personalities. I don't know if it was because they were getting too old, or because they were making a lot of money and the parent company Cumulus wasn't generating enough revenue to be able to compensate for their salaries. I have no idea why they decided to make the change. Maybe their executives over in Atlanta, Georgia, where Cumulus, I think it's headquartered, they had no idea, or maybe they did, I don't know. But it was just a complete disastrous decision, and just wanted to again chime in and give my 2 cents on the station. But anyway, don't listen too much to KGO. Really haven't listened to religiously like I did back in the 2000s and late 90s, but I just wanted to give my opinion about that great, once upon a time, great station. Anyway, thanks for watching.